President Trump has announced plans for a crypto strategic reserve. The US would buy and sell cryptocurrency and put it into this reserve. Could be a game changer. Brock Pierce is the chair of the Bitcoin Foundation and joins me now. A lot of people not happy with this reserve. They say you can't put 4 or 5 cryptos into it. It'd be like a mutual fund or more like a hedge fund. You've got to have just one crypto, Bitcoin. Okay, I'm droning on. What do you say?
Well, so I certainly the Bitcoin maximalists have that position. Obviously, all of the other crypto people would love to have participation in such a historic thing that really changes the entire profile of the industry. It's like the difference between day and night now that the U.S. government is behind the work that we do. But yeah, Bitcoin is generally thought of as digital gold. Certainly the one that is the most obvious to sit on the U.S. government balance sheet since we hold physical gold. We'll see how much is in Fort Knox ultimately.
Do you doubt that it's there? I mean, some people say, look, somebody's been taking gold out of Fort Knox and using it for nefarious purposes. You don't believe that, do you?
Well, I saw a Project Veritas video of someone talking about throwing gold bars off the Titanic. I don't think they meant literal bars, but we'll see. I don't like to speculate on things that I don't know, but like many, I think we're curious. Glad to see all this government savings. And for us in the crypto industry, you know, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
But do you want the reserve to be strictly Bitcoin?
I think we're past that point, so it's not up to me. Our president has made a decision with excellent advisors. They've talked about Ethereum being in. They've said Ethereum. They've said XRP. They've said Solana. They've said ADA Cardano. So it is what it is. And the big winner out of that is obviously Cardano, up 30–40% over the last week since this announcement, and Ethereum being the big loser, which with this announcement, shockingly down 10%.
The Senate voted to repeal a Biden-era rule that requires some cryptocurrency platforms to report their customers' transactions to the IRS. That's been repealed. They don't have to report to the IRS. I take it you would vigorously approve of that.
Well, I think the last administration was getting very onerous in terms of IRS expansion, reporting and otherwise, and I'm happy to see the country on track with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't think any of us want to see an IRS that is heavily expanded with even more reporting requirements than we already have.
Okay, let's move on to the first ever crypto summit. It's on Friday. It's in the White House. What do you want to hear?
Well, I think it's the moment when we look back in history where we have a bit of a preview, but that's the moment where I think we're going to look at that date, March 7th. 2025 is the day where we went from being in the shadows to acknowledged and recognized by the greatest government in the world, and with that, the rest of the world will follow. So we're going to hear about the strategic reserve. We'll probably have greater sense, and I imagine there's going to be some additional announcements that are going to be just as exciting. I'm eager to get to D.C. I'll be on my way back tomorrow, and
you're going to the crypto summit.
Yes, and also I'll be hosting the after event.
Okay, well, that's the big deal. But what are you specifically going to do at that summit? What are you lobbying for?
Well, I think here it's mostly going to be listening, but the rest of us, catching up. And what are the other big things that we're hoping for? Ultimately, legislative action, but that's going to come from Congress. But the big issue we've had as Americans, what makes America the greatest country in the world? The ingenuity of the American people. We are the inventors. We are the creators. We are the ones that have been given permission to create because you can fail and get back up and do it again. The rest of the world doesn't allow you to do that. They'll jail you. They'll bankrupt you. We're an entrepreneurial nation of creation. And the idea that an innovation so important as this, the capital's not going to be in America, that would bother me. Imagine if the internet was not and this is exciting that we get to continue to lead the world as the greatest innovative nation.
You're a true believer, and it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Always good to see you.
Come and see us again.